Hey YouTube, Brian, LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video. How can comic books attract new readers? So I wanted to jump into this topic a little bit because there's a lot of noise out there in the hobby about sales data and comic books, failing younger readers, and it's only old men that are buying comic books. And so I wanted to kind of dig into this topic a little bit today and see, share my opinion of what I think the problems are facing comic books today. So let's jump right in. First off, I think there's too many titles, right? There's too many ongoing titles and variant covers, right? I think that can be overwhelming for new people getting into the hobby, right? They don't know where to start. They don't understand the variant covers. They see a single issue and they see multiple covers for that single issue, and so there's really no understanding of that. And so I think that's potentially just somebody walking into a local comic shop and looking at the wall of new comics can be overwhelmed by that. The next thing that we hear about often is there's no jumping in point for comic books and young readers. Because we have such history with some of these characters, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman have been around for, 50, 60, 70 years, that it's tough for a young reader to jump in because they don't know where would be a good spot to do that. And so I think that is potentially a real issue. And I think that ties into older readers like myself, who've been reading for a very long time. We have this long history of characters, and we're not seeing progress in those characters, right? You think of, when I first started collecting in my teenager years, and now, as a father and a husband, and, there should be some progression in the characters that I'm reading. Like me, as I've gone along in life, hopefully the characters have progressed as well in life. And they could be good things, they could be bad things, but I think we need to see some of that progression. And one of the things I recently heard, which was pretty strange, with my favorite character, Spider-Man, and the Amazing Spider-Man, that the editors at Marvel have said, and now I don't know if this is true, but this is something that has been discussed in the community, is that there is a rule within the editors of Marvel that Mary Jane and Peter Parker cannot be together in the Amazing Spider-Man comic book. Now, I don't know if this is true or if this is just, a wild rumor within the industry, but that seems very strange, right? That they're making these certain plot points, as editors, when many of the fans would like to, Spider-Man fans would like to see Peter and MJ together, but who knows? And I don't know if there are other type of these other type of rules that are put in place by other editors, within Marvel or DC. But that was an interesting one that I've recently heard that I wanted to mention. And I think the other thing is, for new readers, is that they can't digest the 60 years of history, right? If you're jumping in first time on, reading Spider-Man, there's so much history behind that character that it would take you reading a lot to really catch up on that character. And so you may feel, overwhelmed. Maybe the story just seems out of place because you don't know some of the things that are being referenced within the book. And so I think that is a true issue. So those are some of the things that I think are happening today that are problems with attracting new readers. But how can we fix that? So a couple things that I would say that how we can attract new readers to comic books. I think only the biggest characters should have ongoing series. I think we should not have series for maybe lesser known characters or not as popular characters. I mean, you look at somebody like Deadpool, who's very popular because of the cinematic movies with Ryan Reynolds, but I think he's from a comic perspective, they've rebooted the title 10 or 11. I forget what volume it's on, but it's on volume 9 or 10, something like that. And so the sales are not sustaining that comic book. And so I think they would be better off served to the readers and to the creators of the books to just maybe do limited series for a character like Deadpool. That gives a nice jumping on point for new readers and potentially readers that are coming over from watching movies and really don't know much about the character. And it doesn't give you a long commitment that you have to now, continue to collect this ongoing series. Characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, they should have ongoing series because I think there is a number of readers and enough history there to support that. But some of these smaller characters, I think, or less known characters or less popular characters, however you want to categorize them, I think having limited series would be a much better approach. The other thing I've been thinking about is the main continuity, right? We talk about the Marvel 616 and the different universes within the comic book realm. I think, and we've seen it already, right? We've seen the popularity of the Ultimate Universe with Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Black Panther. We've just got a recent release of Ultimate Wolverine, and those books are selling really well. And now we've also seen it on the DC side with the Absolute series: Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Batman, all selling really well. And I'll pop up some data here, and you can see they are selling month over month some of the biggest titles in comic books today. And I think the key here is that because it's outside of the main continuity, you don't have to adhere to the long history of these characters, right? And it's giving the writers more freedom, right? More freedom to try new things. They don't have to be tied down to the 50, 60, 70, 80 years of history with some of these bigger characters. And so I think that's important. And that, again, has generated a jumping on point for these characters, for new readers to be able to jump in and get caught up on these characters. Now, yes, these are not the true origins of these characters, but at this point, even a young new reader, are they not aware? I can't imagine that if you're any type of, even if you're just kind of a casual fan of Superman or Batman or Spider-Man, that you wouldn't know at least their original origin story, right? That Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider. That Batman, the death of his parents caused him to, follow down this path of becoming Batman. That, Superman was from another planet and came here with powers and was adopted by the Kents. So, those things, I think, even as young readers, you kind of understand those origins. And so the Absolute and Ultimate will still work, although they're not true to the original origins. I think they're more unique stories because they don't have to be held to that long history of these characters. So, but that's what my thoughts. Those are what I think today. Think are some of the problems. Think are some of the things we can do to try to fix it. But what about you guys? What do you think? Do you think there's a problem, with the way the industry is doing, these continuous series, these ongoing series with this long history? Do you think that's a problem? And what do you think? Well, what would be a suggestion that you would have to try to attract new readers? What's one thing that Marvel or DC could do that would jumpstart, new readers coming and collecting books? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next video.